It was just before evening in Nairobi's Kilimani estate on September 18th, 2025. That calm Thursday would end in horror. At a sleek apartment block along Mpunga Road, a woman would be captured pacing along the balcony. She seemed confused, frightened, and trapped. This would later lead to people seeing her hanging over the balcony. Moments later, a man with a white t-shirt appeared. He reached out to help, held her briefly, but he let go. She pulled away, stepping towards the ledge. Then she slipped from the third floor. Her name was Zaituni Kavaya, known by her friends as Mama Fua. Zaituni was a 54-year-old domestic worker who had spent decades cleaning homes in the city. That tragic day, she never made it home. As the night fell and the new day came by, her daughter's phone would ring, delivering bad news. Police at Kilimani police station called it an accident, but those who knew her say something didn't add up. The bruises, the timing, and the people inside the apartment at the time of the incident. 5 people have since been arrested as investigators dig into what really happened between the 5th floor and the ground below. Was it panic, pressure, or something darker? For years, she watched and scrubbed behind Nairobi's closed doors, unseen and unheard. Now, her death has forced these doors open, exposing a world where domestic workers live on the edge of power and silence. Hello and welcome to Dark Hour Docs, where we uncover the darkest crimes, the unanswered questions, and the haunting truths left behind. It's the unraveling of a secret evening, the silence of a family, and the haunting echoes of justice demanded by a grieving daughter.
Detectives at Kilimani police station are probing the mysterious death of 54-year-old Zaituni Kavaya.
Police in Nairobi say they are still investigating the mysterious death of a woman at a building where she worked in Kilimani. Zaituni Kavaya died after falling from the building, prompting her relatives.
A resident hired for laundry work on the 5th floor of an apartment along Mpunga Road in Kilimani. Police have since arrested 5 members of the family that contracted her services.
Zaituni Kavaya was more than a name whispered in the corridors of Kilimani. She was a mother, a provider, and a fixer in homes few ever truly saw. At 54, she had lived a life defined by routine, sacrifice, and resilience. In Kibera, where she made her home, she woke before dawn, the first light barely touching the roofs, to prepare breakfast, fetch water, and set her day in motion. Her work as a Mama Fua, or laundry worker, had brought her into elegant homes, tucked behind stone walls and manicured gardens. She washed delicate fabrics by hand, ironed collars until they gleamed, and returned the garments folded like silent farewells. To many employers, she was invisible or just part of the background. But to her children, she was the anchor. In public, she was soft-spoken, with eyes that held years of care and worry. Her daughter, Faith Kavaya, remembers afternoons when Zaituni would return late, tired, but proud of a day's honest labor. She spoke little of her employers, never complaining. Quiet dignity was her shield. In her final weeks, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. She left home early that Thursday, September 18th, 2025, with her uniform tucked and her bag light. She had been called to a Kilimani apartment building. She had entered this building many times before for washing duties. But this time, the home would become a mausoleum. Inside that building, cameras caught her pacing balconies, maneuvering narrow ledges, then stepping away when someone approached her. It was a routine workday that ended in an unthinkable descent. On that day, Zaituni had been called in for cleaning as usual at the home of her employer along Mpunga Road in Kilimani. She was wearing a blue outfit with red and black blushes. Her assignment was simple: do some laundry work for a family she had served before. But sometime that afternoon, tension broke the routine. It is reported that a commotion between Zaituni and her employer ensued over missing money. According to them, she was the person who had accessed the rooms. As a result, Zaituni was called back after leaving the apartment. They questioned and pressured her, but she denied ever taking anything. The exchange grew heated and voices rose. When she tried to leave again, someone stopped her. From there, everything spiraled. CCTV footage later obtained from the scene shows the chilling sequence that followed. On the 5th floor, a man in a white shirt appears, briefly holding her hand before letting her go. She manages to descend to the lower floor after successfully navigating from the 5th floor. On the 4th floor, 3 women appear to speak to her, but she continues down to the 3rd floor. At this point, she's seen talking with unidentified people for a while before the situation appears to get worse. The 3rd floor of the building is enclosed with glass panels, leaving her with nowhere to hold on to. On the 3rd floor, trapped between glass panels, she searches for a grip, but there is none. She struggles, turns, and in a desperate motion, loses balance and falls. By the time guards and residents reached the courtyard below, Zaituni lay motionless, her body twisted near the base of the building. By early evening, Kilimani police sealed off the site. Questions on what happened lingered, with her family wondering what had happened to her. The trouble began with an accusation. It's reported that the son of the household claimed that money had gone missing from a pair of trousers Zaituni had washed. This was about 5,000 shillings. He demanded answers. From court documents, it said that he didn't find his cash in his pockets and summoned her back into the house for questioning. When she denied ever taking anything, the situation escalated. They insisted that she accompany them to the police station. However, in her desperation, she attempted to leave. According to some testimonies, she made a break for the balcony, and this led to the tragic fall. Meanwhile, at home in Kibera, her daughter Faith Kivaya had prepared tea and kept it hot. She was planning to deliver it to her mother when she failed to return. After repeated attempts to reach her went unanswered, Faith received a call from Kilimani police station. They asked her to report to the police station immediately. Fearing the worst, she arrived, still clutching on the warm tea, hoping to give it to her mom. This is when she was told the unthinkable. Her mother was dead. At the station, the only explanation she got was that her mother had fallen from an apartment building, and no further clarity. Faith later went to City Mortuary, where she identified her mother's body. When she collected Zaituni's personal items from the DCI offices, she found only 160 shillings in the purse, a dress, slippers, and rubber shoes. There was nothing else of value, suggesting a robbery. Also, the postmortem report conducted at Nairobi City Mortuary added fuel to the controversy. It showed multiple injuries consistent with blunt force trauma, not just damage from a fall. The pathologist's findings have been cited by the media as evidence that Zaituni's death might not have been a simple accident. The nature and pattern of the bruising and fractures suggested she may have been assaulted before the fall. These revelations raise sharp, haunting questions. Was Zaituni injured before she went over the ledge? Why did the man holding her hand in the 5th floor let her go? Did she die as she was struggling to maintain a balance, or running away after an assault? The layout of the apartment, the narrow walkways, and the glass enclosure makes an unforced sleep seem unlikely. Even the CCTV footage, which shows her descent through floors, does not clearly depict an accidental misstep. What's evident is that she was running from something or someone. The official line may remain a fall, but between the accusations, the injuries, the missing money, and the personal items she carried, the pieces of this puzzle refuse to fit neatly. The silence around how and why she fell is deafening. 5 members of the family who had contracted Zaituni's services were arrested in connection with her death. They were detained at Kilimani police station as investigations continued. As of the last reports, their custody status remains under judicial review as police built their case. Their arrest is only the first move in a far deeper fight. For Zaituni's family and the public, the demand is not just for detention, it's for accountability. Every unanswered question, every gap in evidence, and every silence must be filled with truth. Justice must not be served quietly, it must echo. The story of Zaituni Kavaya is not just the tale of a fall. It's one of vulnerability, power imbalance, and a system that too often silences the weakest voices. She walked into that building on Mpunga Road with routine in her mind, but she never walked out alive. Behind the polished glass of a Kilimani apartment, something darker unfolded. A dispute over 5,000 shillings became the prelude to tragedy. There were bruises, fractures, and blunt trauma, marks that tell of struggle before the fall. And while 5 suspects were taken into custody, silence soon followed. No public word, no resolution, only the echo of a mother's name whispered through court corridors. For Zaituni's daughter, Faith, grief has become an unending cycle of questions. How could a simple dispute over 5,000 shillings end in death? In the end, this is not just one woman's story. It is a reflection of many. Silent workers who remain unseen, unheard, and unprotected. As investigators probe, as her daughter clutches memories and questions, one truth lingers. A fall may end a life, but silence buries justice. In the city of glass towers, sometimes what's most visible is what we refuse to see. This has been Dark Our Dogs, and if you found this story compelling, hit that like and subscribe button.